Hey there, Adam here. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of written policies and procedures in a small family or just small business in general. Most large businesses realize the importance of documentation. So the idea is to emulate those larger businesses to better and more efficiently use your time. And this is sort of a topic I've been thinking about a lot recently. So again, my name's Adam. I'm a North Carolina attorney. We run a small two-lawyer law firm, four full-time staff, one part-time staff, and that's sort of the size that you're at when you start to really think about these things. Because you're getting to the size where you don't really want to do as much hands-on explaining of new or of tasks that you've already done in the past to new employees, because there's going to be some amount of turnover in a firm or a business of that sort of size. That's just sort of the reality you're looking at. People are going to get some experience. They're going to learn things, and everyone knows. And the reality is there's only so much upward mobility in small businesses because there's just not that much room to go. I mean, you got one person who owns it, and then you have another couple people who are sort of in the middle, and then you're always going to have the need for a receptionist or an assistant. And realistically speaking, unless the business itself is growing rapidly, you're just going to have turnover, which again, I guess is a whole nother topic, but something that I is probably worth mentioning, and sort of why creating these policies is pretty important. So written policies and procedures. This sounds silly. It does. It does sound silly, but I also want to show you the way I'm doing it because I think that a lot of people could find this useful. So written policies and procedures, the general rule of thumb that most business books will say is if something is going to be repeated 3 or more times at any point, if you think that this particular issue or particular procedure is going to happen at least 3 times during your business's lifespan, that it should be documented in writing, and that documentation should be available. So that 3 times is not very much. So if it truly is a one-off, let's just say you got to fly down to Mexico or something for, meet with the client, you probably don't need a written policy procedure for that because you're unlikely to be doing that again. But anything that is likely to arise again, ever, in your business should probably be in writing once you know how to do it. So that's sort of the basics of it, but I want to show you the way that I am doing it because this really is the easiest way to get started. And I guess technically the easiest way would just be to have like a set of Word documents and document it out saying, here's our policy on new client intake. Here's our policy on asking for Google reviews. You could do it like that. Just do Word documents, save them in a folder that says office policies. But I think this is actually a better way. So what I have done is created a internal Wikipedia, basically, for the law firm. So I'm going to pull it up on screen to show you what that looks like. So here is our Wikipedia, which is still a work in progress. And the reality is that this will always be a work in progress. You should never be done with your wiki. As the world changes, you're going to have to change current policies. As new things arise, you're going to add new policies. So this works just like Wikipedia works. Anybody that has access to it, and don't try to visit this webpage, you're not going to be able to access it. It's locked out. Anybody that has access, anybody with an account, can edit or create new pages just like you could on the big Wikipedia. Most people have never added anything to that because, well, it's huge. It's probably already been added. That's sort of the fun of it, is you go to Wikipedia because you know that there's probably going to be something on whatever subject you're looking for. So this is our internal wiki. And let me just sort of give you an example of one that I've done recently. So I'm going to go to some of our office policies. And again, this organization is, you can just click on edit, and this is all changeable at any point in time. You can change the names, you can add, you can subtract. That's sort of the fun of it, and it's available from any computer. If you have a username and login, you can go to this page and you can edit and change. So let me just show you one. Let's go to Office Policies, and then here's one I did recently, which is just called Processing Medical Records. And this is how, again, we do personal injury law, so we have a lot of medical records. This is how we, upon receiving medical records, process them. It goes from the person who receives them, it goes to our medical records person who then gives it to the paralegal, who then determines whether or not this is an internal or an external record, and then we add it or to our chronologies, medical chronologies, or we send it to our external vendor to be added to their chronology and then sent back to us. So this is the process. So anytime anybody asks us, how do we handle medical records right now, you can just type in medical records in the search bar, and you're going to see right here. It's right here, processing medical records. And you're going to be able to see what our policy is. And let's just say that this isn't quite right. I want it to be a capital E. I don't know why. You can change it, hit save, and there you go. It's edited. So let's just say there's a new way to receive records or whatever. Or we're not using Monday.com to do our records requests anymore. You can just go in here, hit edit, change it, and then move on. So this is hosted directly on it's a subdomain of our main law firm website. So mountainverdict.com. This is our website for our law firm. So this is just wiki.mountainverdict. Very easy for any staff to remember it. It is, so the back end is called MediaWiki, which I will leave a link to. It is a bit of a process to set up if you do not have a lot of computer expertise. So if you don't have a lot of expertise in doing these things, there are services and IT people that can set it up for you. Once it's set up, it's not hard. It's just hitting edit and then changing. And there's some pretty good get started guides. So this is like one I created to explain how you would create new pages. But there are some original pages. They have a decent amount of resources, like an FAQ. They have MediaWiki has their own website. So if you can get it set up on the server, you should be able to figure it out. So, I think that this is definitely something that you can be working on in the background. And once, the way I've approached it is I have done a lot of the initial work because I want this to be a resource that is usable before I show it to anybody else in the business, because I think that it could be a little overwhelming just to have this big old blank page with then just say, hey guys, fill it in. As you do a new task, I want you to make a new page on it. I think that's a little intimidating. So I have done sort of the initial setup, explained how to make new pages, created some pages to show how the process works. And then, the idea is that the staff will, and me, everybody will continue to add new policies and procedures and edit as necessary so that it's a living document and it stays up to date. And one of the nice things about MediaWiki is you can see who's made what changes, and it has version control, which means I can go back and change this page back to any previous version at any point in time, which is not something that Microsoft Word does natively. So this is searchable across all the documents. So if you may not remember what the name of the document is, you can just type in the keyword and you should be able to find it. Unlike in Word, where you have to remember the name of the document, and sort of the internal text search is still not great inside of just like a Windows Explorer. I hope that this was an interesting topic. Again, these are things that I am working on. I'm absolutely not an expert. It's just things that I know, that I understand, that I'm working on. And it's a learning and growing process. I will share more as I continue to implement these changes, because I think this channel is for people to learn stuff and for people to grow with me. And share their own thoughts and their own expertise. And, if you think that maybe there's a better way to do it, or a tweak to my system that may be useful to me, yeah, absolutely. Please share it with me. I'm not at all married to any of this stuff. I think that, these are the systems I've come up with through a good amount of reading and research, but there's absolutely probably a better way to do everything. And, I hope that you share that with me and that we can have a dialogue about it. All right. Thanks for watching.